Hello, everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss the product cost element setup. This is our agenda for today, where we will understand how to configure the product cost element in Onfinity ERP. The objective of this session is to help you understand how the product cost element works and its relevance in the context of business processes. Before we begin, make sure the prerequisites are met. You need to have a configured tenant in your environment and ensure that organizations are already set up within that tenant. Let's first understand what a product cost element is. In Onfinity, a product cost element is a configuration that defines the individual components that make up the total cost of a product, such as material cost, labor, overheads, freight, or any other relevant cost. It enables the system to segregate, record, and analyze each cost component, which helps in accurate costing, profitability analysis, and overall financial accuracy. Examples of cost elements include weighted average invoice, standard costing, LIFO, FIFO, custom cost, freight, and cost combination. Let's now move into the system and see how to set up product cost elements. Once logged in, you will be at the landing page. You will see various mosaics, but no data is currently populated since this is a newly configured tenant. As transactions start, the data will appear, helping management make decisions. To access product cost element, use the search utility in the menu or navigate through material management, then costing, and finally, product cost element. When a tenant is first created, the system automatically generates 9 cost elements. Let's remove the default filter to view all of them. You will see these 9 direct cost elements generated by the tenant setup process. Out of these, 8 are auto-calculated, while standard costing is not. For standard costing, users need to manually enter the cost. To configure a cost combination, a special type of cost element, we first need to create indirect cost elements. Since none exist yet, let's begin. Select the organization and, for example, define a new element as custom cost. Set the cost type to material. You can optionally provide a surcharge %, which will be applied when recalculating costs for past transactions. Since this is an indirect cost, leave the costing method field blank. Then save. Note: for a cost roll-up to work, at least one element must be marked as a manufacturing material cost. If not, the system will throw an error. This is essential for processing the cost roll-up. Now, let's create a few more indirect cost elements. These include custom cost, freight, and documentation. Each time, select the organization, choose material as the cost type, and save. The calculated field indicates the element is system-generated and does not require user action. Active means the cost element will be considered during cost calculation. Now let's configure the cost combination. We will create a combination called weighted average invoice plus other costs. Select cost combination and save the record. Then, go to cost element, where you will assign at minimum one direct cost element, such as weighted average invoice, and link additional indirect cost elements like custom cost, freight cost, and documentation. Cost combinations require at least one direct cost element. The rest can be indirect. Once a cost combination is linked to a product category, all products under that category will have their cost calculated using this combined method. Each cost component, for example, weighted average or freight, will still be calculated separately, but for cost combination purposes, they will be clubbed together. This ensures the cost of goods sold, or COGS, is always accurate during delivery processes. Now let's look at the Calculate button. Suppose you defined a cost combination after setting the product costing method as weighted average invoice, but forgot to apply it initially. You can use the Calculate Cost Element function, and the system will generate corresponding cost element records in costing info. You can then change the costing method at the product category level. After that, the system will use the cost combination during all future transactions. If any costing method, such as weighted average PO, last invoice, or average invoice, is missing, you can manually create it. Enter the name as weighted average PO and choose material as the cost type. Enter the method name like weighted average PO and save. Let's briefly understand the difference between key costing methods. In the weighted average PO method, purchase order prices are used to calculate the product cost, with the calculation based only on available stock and incoming stock quantities. With weighted average invoice prices are used to calculate the product cost, and this calculation is also based only on available stock and incoming stock quantities. In standard costing, you define the product cost, including overheads, and this remains fixed unless manually updated. LIFO means last in, first out, which means the most recently purchased stock is delivered first. FIFO means first in, first out, meaning the oldest stock is delivered first. In the average PO method, purchase order prices are used to calculate the cost. It takes into account all purchase values and quantities accumulated since the system began, along with any new purchases. Cost combination is a combination of one direct and multiple indirect cost elements. In the average invoice method, invoice prices are used to calculate the cost. It takes into account all purchase values and quantities accumulated since the system began, along with any new purchases. Finally, indirect costs, such as freight or documentation, typically represent landed costs, which get calculated upon entering invoices. And that's everything you need to know to set up product cost elements in Onfinity ERP. Please join us in the next session, and thank you for attending.